Now I'm going to be presenting a very important article which is called bidirectional LSTM-CRF model for sequence tagging. So you can use it for any sequence tagging like part of speech tagging or semantic tagging that I've used for universal semantic tagging in my paper. You can use it for any kind of tagging. So this article in 2015. So there are different configuration or architecture that you could use. You can use just LSTM for tagging, or you can use bidirectional LSTM, or CRF alone, or combine LSTM with CRF, because LSTM has some it has some power for some expressive power for better features, and we combine it with this structured model, which is CRF conditional random field, to have a better representation. And even if you combine three worlds of bidirectional and LSTM to have a good feature and combine it with this structured prediction model, which is conditional random field, then you have even better model. So for example, EU rejects German call. They have used this for entity recognition, for example, beginning of, and this is the organization, this is beginning and this is miscellaneous, and this is other. There are some other entities that we don't know, they're out of what we know. And so this is an LSTM, an architecture of bi-LSTM here. And the CRF network, it uses this, I have explained conditional random field on my playlist for conditional random field. And this is LSTM-CRF configuration. So for LSTM-CRF configuration, you have some the score of a sentence. This is the score of a sentence. We have this A transition from I's state to J's state, and F is the emission. It's matrix of scores that are output by the network. So if they combine them, it becomes, and sum overall, so it becomes this transition plus this one. If you add all of them, so this is the probability, and you know the product becomes sums, and also you can think about it in as a like potential, that these potentials, you multiply them. You have seen it several times in graphical models, or even in structured prediction models, problems, that this is for CRF is a very simple, just like hidden Markov model, CRF is a simple structured prediction model. So you can take advantage of this structure and calculate the score of a sentence. And once you know the score of a sentence, you can predict. So here you see, and we use dynamic programming can be used to calculate these transitions from one state to the other one, because you have at any time, because you have, for example, what is the transition to go from BORG, from organization to the, for example, person. So what is the probability of each of them? Or if you are working on part of speech, you have a different thing. Or if you're working on semantic tagging, you have different categories. But the idea is the same. So this is the bidirectional LSTM. You backward, pass for forward and backward LSTM, and you update the parameters. So these are size of tokens and labels for different data sets, and For example, for part of speech, the number of sentences is for different number of sentences. You have part of speech. You can compare part of speech for training, validation, and test. And you can compare it with, so in named entity recognition or part of speech tagging, you have different results. And you can have different models, and you can compare them for different data sets. So the accuracy, if you use CRF with lexicon infused embeddings, then you get a very high accuracy, 90%. But nowadays we use for 95% accuracy for these tagging, because tagging is very simple, because you have enough supervision, so this problem is already solved. And let's implement it in PyTorch now. So first we define whatever we need in the initialization, in the constructor. For example, we need RNN and conditional random field. Conditional random field goes from hidden dimension to the tag set size, depending on, for example, 42 for part of speech. Of course, we have different part of speech modeling. Some of them is small, some of them is big. Or even entity recognition, or even semantic tagging, or any other problem that you can use. And here we are embedding, we are not using a pre-trained model for word2vec, so we are just learning it end to end with other things. And so this is, we build features. So before we use recurrent neural network, we pack and then we unpack here, and we get the LSTM outputs. And for inference, we use VTRB decoding. So again, we use conditional random field, and the idea is that we store maximum probability. So we need these back pointers. We need the back pointers, and these are back pointers. So just like any other dynamic programming, you also store them in your computer. So we use back pointers. So we have a sequence, the highest probability of any sequence of states is maximum of pi. So to recover identity of highest probability sequence, so it's a dynamic programming, a recursive thing. So it is not only we are calculating the maximum, we are getting the argument of that, so that we store it, because at the end of the day we need these back pointers. And this is the CRF module, so we use neural network inheritance from that. So we initialize, what we need is, first we say the number of tags, we add two more things because we need start and stop as well. And we have a fully connected network. It's just a linear model from in features to the number of tags. Our transition, if you remember that A is our transition, so you can model it like this, transitions. And what you need is emission. Emission F, you can model it just from, you can get it from LSTM features. So when we say fully connected the features, you're getting those features from that linear FC, which is a linear model. And then once you get your features, you use VTRB decoding to get the forward pass. And what is a VTRB decoding? You can implement it. So what you need is a data structure. You need the best score and the maximum. So maximum score is just the best. I've explained this later. So maximum score is torch. When we say torch full, it means that this is an example of what torch full is. It means that we have, for example, a matrix 2x3, and we just fill it with this number. So all the entries of this 2x3 is filled by by this number 3.14. And then we implement this score. How do you calculate that? You just add the transition to the emission. So we are adding the transition here, and this is the emission. We finally added the emission here, so we get the accuracy. And the maximum probability of a sequence ending in state S at time J is this. So this is the Viterbi variable that we need to know for dynamic programming. And as I said, at the end of the day, you need to store, during this calculation, you need to store the back pointers. And finally, you can get the loss because you know the forward algorithm, and you get you goal the score. I've explained these things in my playlist for conditional random fill, so I don't repeat it. So we want the forward score to be as close as to the goal score. We want this the log of nominator to be as close as the denominator, because when you take the log, it becomes nominator minus denominator. And I've explained them before. So return the sum of each row of the input tensor in the given dimension. So we get the score, which is a sum of emission and transition. So we have a score sentence. So we score the sentence, and here this is the forward. So the forward algorithm is really just this log sum. So we want this forward algorithm to be very close to this goal score, because we have training data. You can calculate that using this training data. You can calculate the sum of transition and emission, and we want this forward algorithm, the result of this forward method, to be as close as possible to the goal score. And so we take so this is a forward algorithm, I mean this log sum, and finally this is just the log sum, and finally and for the forward algorithm you use this forward algorithm, you calculate this using this method. You have features. What you need is just features. Once you know the features, you can calculate this. Let's call this z of x. So of course in the literature they call it alpha. So this the alpha, you get the alpha, you want to alpha to be as close as possible to the score. This is the goal score that I explained. This is an example of alpha with forward algorithm. So you have this in mind, and you define the loss. As I said, we want this goal score to be as close as possible to this logad of score, which is calculated by the forward score. So we have the loss, this distance we want it to be reduced, and that's it.